Very good. How is everyone doing? Now, first I want to just get your honest assessment. What resonated with you with the presentation? What challenged you? What you want to? Did you want to throw a Bible at me? What like so? Roshun, we've worked together in the past.
Yeah.
What resonated with you?
Well, the entire presentation resonated with me, but of course I'm going to challenge you because I'm known for being outspoken. Well, maybe not. Am I known for being outspoken? The one point in the first tab around home ownership, because, well, you even write about it, you know, the lack of equity in most black neighborhoods when the neighborhoods are majority minority, and that's Memphis. I tell people I have equity and wealth because I live in Evergreen, and it does not look like me. It is very white, and I have a significant amount of equity, but that is not true for most Memphians who are homeowners. Yes, we have a lot of homeowners. They live in high poverty, and we're oversubscribed to minor home repair programs. And minor and home repair programs in Memphis, we've spent up to $50,000 in other people's homes. And so they don't have their own equity, they have mine. And then the appraised value still doesn't go up because of the other factors. And so we could talk more about, and I'm not anti-homeownership, I'm building a homeownership community right now, a subdivision, but how we own homes. And how we look at the market realities with debt coverage loans. And I'm on behind the headlines today talking about the same thing. We're going up against the BlackRocks of the world. And so we need to really think about home ownership in a different way.
That's exactly right. Share what you're working, you've done a lot in the area. What are you doing now that resonated with the presentation?
So I know most people like for me to talk about, because we like big shiny projects, Northside. It's 84 million. It is a deal that does not make sense in any market because 62 million of it I bring to the table. It's an $84 million deal. So if you have someone with sponsors equity of 62 million, and I'm never getting that back, by the way. That's 62 million that's gonna stay in that deal the entire time it exists.
And explain what that means to the audience.
The equity?
Yeah.
It's like you taking some money out your pocket and throwing it down in a hole. And it's 62 million of it for to make the deal work. It's just not a market deal. It's the transformation of a high school, and so everybody in Memphis thinks I could transform all school buildings. As my development partner says, school buildings are meant to be school buildings. We do not want to do that, and unless you have a sugar daddy that is going to give you 62 million, it's not going to happen again. And so that deal is a complex transaction, but the thing about it, it's a beautiful building. We've transformed, or we're almost done transforming this former school in a historically black neighborhood. But the thing about it that I'm most impressed with, in the last 18 months, I spent 40 million with minority business. And minority to me in Memphis looks black. And so my development, not partner, because in this deal, I said I'm not gonna share the development fee. So it's a small family-owned boutique firm, Comcap, headed by Archie Willis or A.W. Willis III. They're the developer. And so 100% of the developer's fee, now I kind of look back and regret that because I got too much to do, but 100% of the developer's fee goes to Comcap. And then one of our generals, they did all of the demo, 10 million worth of demo, was a black contractor, Martin with Precise. And, you know, forget the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Anybody knows me, knows if I'm at a table, not only am I outspoken, but I tell you what you're gonna do. And I don't care what you look like. If I'm going to lead the deal, it is automatic that we're gonna have not the 3% or the 10% of government requirements, we're gonna have 40, 45%, or 100%, depending on the deal, of minority participation, because I get to say that as the owner sponsor. And I make those demands and they happen. And so we're also working on one of my favorite projects. People think it's Northside, but it's really Lincoln Park subdivision. It's something I've dreamed about for the last decade. It's 14 single-family houses, 8 duplexes, all for ownership by people who have low to moderate incomes. And the duplexes was intentional, that we're going from this single-family detached to a duplex, and I really want to move up to quads and other things, so that the homeowner, who is 80% of the median, also has an investment property next door. And we control a lot of this, the affordability long-term. So most federal entitlement programs, they roll off. So in 15 years, you get rid of the subsidy, basically. You give it away. Our program, and that's the policy side, when we merged with another entity, Neighborhood Preservation, Inc., and created the Neighborhood Preservation Act, and then we did some other things in policy at the state level, is this long-term fixed, a deed-restricted way of transferring properties. It's the community land trust model.
Right.
But our land trust doesn't separate land from building, because you know why? The neighborhood said in the South, we don't like that model. That sounds like something we were used to on farms, and it's sharecropping. And they didn't like it, and so we listened to them, and let's see how we can keep it together, and we do it via deed restrictions. It's a shared equity model, and so if they gain, and they can gain over time, the longer they stay there, the more of the equity they gain. And we're seeing that in Klondike, where we're doing more than North Side. We are the largest single landowner in Klondike, and we didn't go and displace anybody. We own over 450 parcels, and we bought them on the open market. That tells you something about the neighborhood's decline. It was vacant and abandoned. And those where we bought properties where people existed in them, they were renters. We kept them in place, and some of them have some $300 rents because they've had those rents for 40 years. Well, I'm not going to displace them. Their incomes don't support them having a higher rent. And so we kept them at the rents they were at, but I renovated their places because they were horrible. And so we do gut rehabs, and they're COT properties, so they are long-term affordability. It's not just for the person who's there today, we pass that on. And then the third big project that we're working on is a senior development at Frazier, 79 units for very low-income seniors. So their incomes will be below 60%. But we got a lot of green projects that people don't really think about me in that way, but I am like a speaker at tree conferences, so I'm what the world does think about me in that way. And we could talk further about this wealth model, because you talk about environmental quality. Memphis has something, and I like to think positive as well, not in lack. We are, and have been, the hardwood capital of the U.S., really of the world. And so we have a beautiful tree canopy. Now, when we take the trees down, we usually send them to the landfill. And I had what happened to be a controversial project here, but my national partners were so confused. It is one of the most environmentally friendly projects that this region will see. So the Works is a major corporation that happens to be a nonprofit and serve a charitable purpose that has ownership interests in a ton of for-profit entities and a lot of other nonprofit entities, because we gotta talk about this nonprofit model. I run a corporation first and foremost. Now, we're mission driven and we serve a charitable purpose, but we're a multi-million-dollar corporation. I said I spend $150,000 every 2 weeks on payroll. So I'm passing some wealth on to some individuals and their families within my company. I employ 4 staff attorneys, and so we're a real, what a nonprofit looks like. We know one big here is St. Jude, but we never think of Black-led nonprofits in that way. And I run a huge corporation that owns corporations. And so we're in the tree business. We're the region's largest producer of native species. Region, so that's Mississippi, Arkansas, and Tennessee. So we sell those. So that's the Works doing business, that's Memphis Native Tree Works. We're gonna produce 26,000 pounds of produce this year. Talk about land. So we own farms. So we have farms in Uptown, Knight Arnold, out in Southeast Memphis, and Midtown, and Evergreen. And we're selling that to restaurants, and eventually we're moving into the grocery stores. I'm having conversations with the wholesalers.
Well, typically land is considered an asset.
It is an asset.
But in many places they consider it almost like a liability. Can you just?
Well, I mean, we're big. We're bigger than most places in terms of land, not population. I say invest in the places you've intentionally not invested in. And so that looks like North Memphis, South Memphis, Orange Mound, and the areas that you have ignored for the last 100 years when you were building 385 and you were going down east on the popular corridor. So I'm saying yes to inner city, no to more suburban development.
Churches, we're seeing fewer church members. How should we be thinking about converting some of these assets in our communities? I know you're doing it, Roshun, but others, how should we be thinking about converting these very wonderful assets into something that is more usable at this time?
Oh, we can't get caught up in nostalgia, and very often we just want these old buildings to sit in our neighborhoods. Why? I tell people, the first thing people want to do is talk about building a school, and I'm like, are there children here? And are you going to send your children here? And I use a local example in one of our suburban communities. Carterville built a town first. And so for over a decade, they were one of the fastest growing towns in the US. And then they built a high school that is now overcrowded because that town kept growing, that lifetime fitness model town. So you know what that looks like. It has high incomes, 2.5 children. It's this perfect American community. And they built wealth through that in a high school, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. And I'm like, we can use that local model. We need to build our neighborhoods, then the schools and the population will come back.
Anybody else?
Okay. Come on this way. We're not eating. You have it go.
Steve knows 3 words of Spanish.
That's all.
Well,
Thank you, Dr. Perry. Panelists, here we go.
Hey, good morning. I'm Tanya Fry. I launched an executive search firm in 24 after, I'm a recovering attorney and after a lot of years of consulting. So I understand the corporate world plus nonprofit. So I really appreciate all the perspectives. Home ownership, I've got a really good question, and it's practical for a lot of people in this room. So I have 3 children, 15, 16, 18, all boys. The conversation that we're having now about wealth is assets and home ownership. Practically speaking, when my husband and I are ready to retire and go sail around the world, do we sell our home and give the proceeds to our kids? Do we give them our home? Do we sell our home to them? That's the next step, right? We're never going to build the wealth if we don't keep it in the family. But, what are we supposed to do? So that's just a practical question of, we've got this home ownership. Now what? Because we want
put it in a trust. Do not just transfer it to them because they're going to have capital gains tax that they cannot afford. And so my beneficiary, when I pass of my house, is the trust. The 100% owner, trustee or whatever of the trust is. No, but I'm just saying, not that I'm not trying to kill you off. Neither am I trying to kill myself off. But my daughter is the beneficiary of the trust. But I'm not going to just pass her that house, especially in my neighborhood today. I already have a lot of equity because she's going to have the tax gain. And so if you look at assessor's page, a lot of wealthy people, if you look at who owns their property, it's a trust.
Anybody else want to answer?
So I am encouraging small businesses who are interested in development to come alongside me. So I can leave the $62 million in, you can't, he can't, y'all can't leave it in. But I'm creating a market, and so come next to me. And so I'm about to have some meetings with small developers who I already know, but we're gonna expand that. And I'm gonna leave the subsidy that I put in those lots that I bought in the house so that they benefit, they can get in, and then they can build, and then I'm gonna provide expertise, connection to the bank, whatever they need, so that they don't lose their shirts and they gain something from that. And so coming alongside a nonprofit in this instance, because we're doing so much in one neighborhood, allows that individual business owner to really gain some wealth.
I just have a question.